The street was quiet. The neon signs flickered softly in the night. A light drizzle made the pavement shine like silver. Eli, a young human, walked slowly along the narrow alley, carrying a small bag of dry cat food. His steps were careful, almost silent, but his eyes were sharp, scanning the shadows for the familiar shapes of strays. He knelt down near a puddle and poured the food on the wet ground. Within seconds, a few cats appeared from behind trash cans, moving carefully, their tails twitching. One orange cat, smaller than the others, came close but paused. Its eyes glowed slightly in the dim light. Eli smiled. "Here you go, little guy," he whispered. He didn't notice the tiny device strapped to the cat's collar. It was almost invisible, a small silver chip that pulsed faintly. On the other side of the galaxy, in a fleet hidden behind a dying star, the pulse was impossible to miss. The alien commander, a tall creature with scales and multiple eyes, leaned over a glowing holographic map. "Report," it hissed. A subordinate replied, "Commander, a signal from a primitive world. It is unusual. Small, moving, alive. Alive." The commander's multiple eyes focused sharply. "Track it. Monitor everything. This human, he moves differently. There is potential." Back on Earth, Eli moved on to another corner. The rain made the smell of wet asphalt mix with the scent of the cats. He scattered more food. The orange cat followed silently, hopping from wall to wall like it had a purpose. To Eli, it was just another stray. Nothing more. Unbeknownst to him, alien sensors tracked every step he took. The fleet recorded his habits, patterns, and even the way he interacted with the cats. The aliens exchanged data across light years and seconds, analyzing every little detail of a human's daily life. Eli paused to scratch the head of a black and white cat. "You guys are always hungry, huh?" he said with a small laugh. He didn't feel watched. He didn't feel like his simple act of kindness could reach far beyond this small city street. But somewhere in the darkness of space, the alien commander's voice echoed across a massive chamber. "This human, he is no ordinary life form. Observe closely. He must be studied." Back on Earth, Eli finished feeding the cats and started walking home. The rain had stopped, leaving the air fresh and cold. He passed by closed shops and quiet parks. The orange cat trailed him for a while, then disappeared into the shadows. Eli didn't notice. Inside the alien fleet, monitors displayed Eli's movements in real time. Analysts debated among themselves. "Commander, his behavior is unpredictable. Unlike any data we have collected before." The commander's voice was low but firm. "Record everything. If the galaxy is watching, this human may hold secrets we are yet to understand." As Eli reached his small apartment, he noticed a strange feeling, as if someone, or something, was watching. He shook it off. Maybe it was just his imagination. Humans were always paranoid in the dark. He turned on a small lamp and sat by the window, watching the city lights shimmer. The cats were safe for now, fed and happy. For Eli, that was all that mattered. Far above, in the cold void of space, the alien fleet continued to track. Plans were forming, discussions happening at speeds humans could never comprehend. One thing was clear: the galaxy had noticed Eli. A human, simple, kind, feeding stray cats. And yet, from the alien perspective, extraordinary. The camera would have panned slowly from Eli's small window to the massive starships hovering in silence. Alien leaders, glowing screens reflecting on their faces, whispered about the human anomaly. Something about him was different. Something about humans was unpredictable. And so, while Eli went to sleep, unaware of the attention he had drawn, the galaxy watched. One small act of feeding stray cats had triggered a chain of observation that would span light years. And the humans? They didn't even know they had started a story that the galaxy would never forget. The city slept under a thin drizzle. Streetlights reflected on wet asphalt, casting long, blurry shadows. In a quiet alley, a young man named Eli carried a small bag of dry cat food. His steps were soft, careful, almost whispering against the wet pavement. Despite the stillness, his eyes scanned every shadow, every corner for the cats he often fed. "Come on, guys, where are you?" he murmured, kneeling down near a puddle. Almost immediately, a few strays appeared, cautious but hungry. Their fur was matted, their tails low. Among them was a small orange cat, quieter than the rest. It approached slowly, almost carefully, as if it had a secret. Eli smiled, scattering some food on the ground. "Here you go, little guy," he said softly. The cat ate, and for Eli this was just another night. He didn't notice the tiny device attached to the cat's collar. A silver chip, no bigger than a fingernail, pulsed faintly, sending signals far beyond Earth. Across the galaxy, hidden behind a distant star, a fleet of alien ships stirred. The commander, a tall, scaled creature with multiple eyes that glimmered like molten metal, leaned over a holographic display. "Report," it hissed. A subordinate clicked his claws nervously against the console. "Commander, there is a signal. Small, living, originating from an unremarkable planet. It is unusual." "Unusual?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "It moves with purpose. Its life pattern is unlike any standard observed life form. It is connected to something," the subordinate replied, hesitating. The commander tilted its head, scanning the hologram of a small human walking down a city street, feeding stray cats. "This human, we must watch closely. Begin full observation. The anomaly may be significant." Back on Earth, Eli moved to another corner of the alley. The rain had stopped, leaving the air fresh and smelling of wet concrete and grass. He scattered more food, noticing one of the cats keeping a steady distance, almost like it was observing him as much as he was feeding it. He chuckled. "You guys are always so careful," he whispered. Little did he know, that very cautious orange cat was carrying the attention of an entire alien fleet. Every step Eli took, every gesture, every glance at the cats was recorded. Alien analysts far away tracked his patterns, discussing and debating his habits. "Commander," one of the alien analysts said, "he behaves unpredictably. The cats, his connection with them is unusual. Data does not match any other intelligent species we have studied." The commander's many eyes glowed faintly. "It seems trivial, yet it is significant. Observe everything. Nothing is too small. This human, he may hold answers we have not considered." Eli finished feeding the last of the strays and started walking home. The city was calm, quiet except for the distant hum of traffic. The orange cat trailed him for a few moments, then vanished into the shadows. Eli didn't notice. For him this was routine. Feeding strays was part of his life. Simple, normal, unnoticed. But in the hidden reaches of space, monitors displayed Eli's every move. Lights flashed, readings changed, signals traveled between ships faster than light. The fleet discussed possibilities, options, and potential risks of this human anomaly. At one point, the commander hissed to the room, "This species, it may seem weak, but its behavior, unpredictable, adaptable. Observing one human may reveal much. Record everything. Nothing escapes our notice." Inside his small apartment, Eli sat by the window. The city glimmered under the night sky. He could hear the faint echoes of footsteps, distant sirens, the occasional bark of a dog. For him the world was calm. For the galaxy, he had just become a point of intrigue, a ripple in a sea of stars. He felt an odd sensation, a faint chill as if someone was watching. He shook it off. Perhaps he was imagining it. Humans often imagine things in the night. Meanwhile, across light years, the alien fleet continued its silent observation. Charts, graphs, and holograms mapped his life in real time. Discussions continued at speeds humans could not perceive. The camera would pan slowly from Eli's small window to the massive alien starships floating silently above, their metal scales shimmering in cold light. Alien commanders whispered about the human anomaly. They had never seen behavior like this. Feeding cats, something trivial and human, yet it triggered curiosity, caution, and strategy discussions across the galaxy. Eli finally turned off the lamp and lay down. The rain had stopped, the city quiet once more. Little did he know, a simple act, feeding stray cats, had drawn the attention of an entire alien civilization. One small act of kindness had begun a chain of events that could stretch across light years. The galaxy was watching. And humans? They were about to become a secret force that no one expected. The rain had just stopped, leaving the streets slick and shiny, reflecting the dim neon lights of the quiet city. Puddles formed small mirrors on the pavement, catching the glow of signs that flickered lazily in the night. In one narrow alley, a young man named Eli walked slowly, holding a small paper bag in his hands. Inside was dry cat food, a modest offering for the stray cats he fed almost every night. Eli's eyes scanned the shadows carefully. The alley was empty, save for stray bits of trash and the occasional rat scuttling past. But he knew the cats were out there hiding, waiting. He knelt down near a corner and poured a small pile of food onto the wet ground. Within seconds, movement appeared. A few scruffy cats crept out of the darkness, tails low, eyes alert. Among them was a small orange cat, its fur matted but clean enough to notice. Unlike the others, it didn't rush toward the food. Instead, it paused, almost cautiously, watching Eli's every move. "Here you go, little guy," Eli said softly, smiling. "Don't be shy." The cat stepped forward, nibbling at the food. What Eli didn't notice was the tiny device hidden in the cat's collar. A small silver chip that pulsed faintly, sending signals far beyond Earth, signals that could be read only by advanced technology. Far above, in a galaxy light years away, a fleet of alien ships drifted in the darkness near a dying star. Inside the largest ship, the commander, a tall, scaly creature with multiple glimmering eyes, watched a glowing holographic map. A subordinate's voice broke the silence. "Commander," it said, "there is a small life signal on the planet below. Unusual, living, primitive, but with patterns that are different." The commander leaned closer, its many eyes focusing sharply. "Different how?" "It moves with purpose. Its behavior is not predictable. Unlike any life form we have catalogued," the subordinate replied carefully. The commander hissed, a sound like metal scraping on stone. "Track it. Observe everything. The life form, this human, he is of interest. Begin full surveillance. Every movement must be recorded." Back on Earth, Eli moved to another corner of the alley, scattering more food. The cats ate quickly, yet one of them, the cautious orange one, followed him closely, silently, disappearing for a moment, then returning. Eli chuckled. "You guys are always so careful," he murmured. "It's like you know what's going on, huh?" He had no idea how right he was. Every step Eli took, every little gesture was being tracked. Alien sensors were recording the smallest details: how he scattered food, how he watched the cats, even the slight hesitation before he turned to leave. Across the fleet, analysts compared his behavior to billions of life forms they had studied, finding nothing that matched this simple human. "He is unpredictable," one analyst whispered to the commander. "And yet, interesting. His interactions with the animals show awareness, empathy, yet also adaptability. He may be small, but his decisions are unique." The commander's eyes glowed faintly. "Prepare detailed logs. Track him continuously. This is no ordinary species. Even small actions may reveal large truths." Eli continued walking home, unaware of the attention he had drawn. The city was quiet, save for the distant hum of vehicles and the occasional shout of someone far away. He passed closed shops and silent parks. The orange cat trailed him for a while, then disappeared into the shadows. Eli didn't notice. It was just another stray to him. Nothing more. Inside the alien fleet, discussion continued. "Commander," an analyst said, "the human is a single individual. Yet the way he interacts with living creatures, and his environment, suggests capabilities beyond his size and strength. Should we intervene?" The commander hissed softly. "No. Observe. Learn. Do not make contact, yet. He must remain unaware. The moment he knows, the experiment may fail." Back on Earth, Eli reached his apartment. The rain had stopped entirely now, leaving the city fresh and glimmering. He sat by the window, looking out over the streets, lights reflecting like a river of stars. A faint unease ran down his spine, a feeling that someone, or something, was watching. He shook it off. Humans always imagine shadows in the dark, especially on quiet nights. Meanwhile, across light years of space, the alien fleet continued to watch. Data flowed through massive servers, analyzing every detail. Every twitch of Eli's fingers, every glance toward the cats, every step down the quiet street was noted, recorded, studied. Discussions in the fleet were fast and precise, alien voices overlapping in strange, unintelligible patterns, yet one idea became clear. The humans, so small, so unremarkable, were unpredictable. The camera pans slowly from Eli's small window to the alien fleet hovering silently in the void. Their metal surfaces glimmered under distant starlight. Alien leaders whispered among themselves about the human anomaly, discussing plans and possibilities, unsure what one ordinary human could mean to an entire galaxy. Eli finally turned off the lamp and lay down, unaware that a ripple of interest had reached the stars. A simple act, feeding stray cats, had drawn the attention of beings far beyond Earth. One small, compassionate action had become a chain of events that could spread across light years. The galaxy was watching. And humans were about to become something far greater than the aliens expected. The city was quiet, almost unnaturally so. The rain had stopped an hour ago, leaving the streets slick and shining. Puddles formed mirrors of the dim neon lights flickering above. The air smelled of wet concrete and dust, a faint smell that reminded Eli of home. He walked slowly, his steps cautious, holding a small paper bag in his hands. Inside was dry cat food, a simple gift for the stray cats that wandered the city streets each night. Eli's eyes scanned the alleyways carefully. Trash littered the corners and the occasional rat scuttled past, disappearing into darkness. But Eli knew the cats were out there, hiding, waiting for him. He approached a corner and knelt down near a puddle. From the shadows, shapes began to move. A few cats, scruffy and wary, crept forward, tails low, eyes alert. Among them was a small orange cat, smaller than the others, with matted fur but sharp, intelligent eyes. Unlike the others, it didn't rush to the food. Instead, it paused as if evaluating Eli, its movements careful, deliberate. "Here you go, little guy," Eli whispered softly, scattering a small pile of food. The cat took a cautious step forward, nibbling at the food. Eli smiled, unaware that this simple act was being watched, not by humans but by eyes far across the galaxy. A tiny silver chip, hidden in the cat's collar, pulsed faintly. Its signals traveled across space, reaching a hidden alien fleet near a dying star. Inside the largest ship of the fleet, a tall, scaled creature with glowing eyes leaned over a holographic display. Its multiple eyes moved independently, scanning lines of data. "Report," it hissed. A subordinate clicked his claws nervously against the console. "Commander, there is a signal from a primitive planet. A single human. Small, unarmed, but the life readings are unusual. It is alive, yes, but its behavior is unique." The commander tilted its head, studying the display. A hologram showed a human kneeling on a wet street, feeding a cat. "Different how?" the commander asked, its voice low and dangerous. "It moves with purpose. Its interactions with animals, its choices, unpredictable. Unlike any life form cataloged before," the subordinate explained. The commander hissed again, a sound like metal scraping against stone. "Monitor everything. Track it constantly. The human, it must remain unaware. Observation only. This may be significant." Back on Earth, Eli moved to another corner, scattering more food. The cats ate eagerly, but the orange one followed him closely, silent and watchful. It disappeared briefly, then returned as if checking on him. Eli chuckled softly. "You're always careful, aren't you?" he said. "Almost like you know something I don't." What he didn't know was that every step, every glance, every small movement was being recorded and analyzed by alien technology beyond imagination. Across the galaxy, fleets of ships logged every detail of Eli's behavior. Data flowed faster than light. Patterns were examined. Discussions took place in languages humans could not even imagine. "He is unpredictable," one analyst whispered, "but intelligent, adaptable. His interactions with these animals suggest awareness beyond normal parameters. A single human, yet remarkable." The commander's eyes glimmered. "Prepare full logs. Observe every detail. Nothing escapes. Every choice may reveal secrets we cannot yet understand." Eli continued his walk home. The city was quiet, alive only in subtle ways. The hum of distant traffic, the occasional dog barking far off, the soft hiss of water dripping from gutters. He passed closed shops, silent parks and empty streets, unaware that a galaxy-wide observation had begun. The orange cat followed him a few more steps before disappearing into the shadows. Eli didn't notice. To him it was just another stray. Nothing more. Inside the alien fleet, analysts and commanders whispered among themselves. "Commander, the human is a single specimen," one said. "But its behavior, its connection with other living creatures, may indicate latent intelligence beyond expectations." "Observe," the commander hissed. "Do not intervene. Not yet. Any interference may alter the results. This human, its unpredictability is interesting. The species as a whole may hold hidden potential." Eli reached his small apartment. He paused at the door, feeling an odd sensation, a faint chill creeping down his spine. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it made him glance over his shoulder. Empty streets. Nothing there. He shook it off, dismissing it as imagination. Humans were prone to imagining shadows in the night. Inside, he sat by the window, looking out over the glimmering city. The lights reflected like tiny stars on wet asphalt. A faint breeze carried the scent of rain and dust. He felt calm, tired, unaware of the eyes watching him from light years away. Meanwhile, the alien fleet continued to track, record, and analyze. Their massive screens displayed his movements in real time. Charts, graphs, and holographic images captured every detail. Alien voices overlapped in strange, rapid patterns, undecipherable to human ears, yet full of tension. The camera would pan slowly from Eli's small window to the massive alien ships hovering silently in space. The metal scales of the vessels shimmered under distant starlight. Alien leaders whispered about the human anomaly, debating what one ordinary human could mean for an entire galaxy. Eli finally turned off the lamp and lay down to sleep. He was unaware that a single act, feeding stray cats, had triggered a ripple across the galaxy. A chain of events had begun, one that could stretch across light years. The galaxy was watching. And humans were about to become something far greater than the aliens expected. The city was quiet but not empty. The rain had just stopped, leaving streets slick and glimmering under the dim neon lights. Puddles reflected the flickering glow of shop signs and traffic lights, making the pavement look like liquid mirrors. A faint smell of wet concrete mixed with the scent of dust, giving the air a sharp, clean feeling. Eli walked carefully down a narrow alley, carrying a small paper bag in his hands. The bag held dry cat food, nothing special, just enough to feed the stray cats that roamed the streets each night. He had been doing this for years and it had become his routine. Feeding the cats gave him comfort, a sense of purpose in a world that often felt indifferent. His eyes scanned the shadows carefully. Trash littered the corners of the alley, and rats scuttled away silently, disappearing into cracks in the walls. But Eli knew the cats were there, hiding, watching. He approached a corner and knelt down near a puddle. From the darkness, shapes began to move. A few scruffy cats crept forward, their tails low, their eyes wide and alert. Among them was a small orange cat, smaller than the others, with matted fur and cautious movements. Unlike the others, it did not rush to the food. It paused, watching Eli as if it understood something he did not. "Here you go, little guy," Eli whispered softly, scattering a small pile of food. The cat took a tentative step forward, nibbling at the food. Eli smiled, thinking nothing of it. What he did not notice was the tiny silver chip hidden in the cat's collar, a device no larger than a fingernail. It pulsed faintly, sending signals across space to a hidden alien fleet, far beyond Earth, tracking life forms with precision beyond human comprehension. In the darkness near a dying star, the alien fleet stirred. The largest ship, massive and imposing, glowed faintly under the starlight. Inside, the commander, a tall, scaled creature with multiple glimmering eyes, leaned over a holographic map of the city. Data streams flowed across the display, capturing every detail of Eli's movements. "Report," the commander hissed, its voice low and metallic. A subordinate clicked his claws nervously on the console. "Commander, there is a signal. A single human, alive, moving, feeding small animals. The readings are unusual. The life form behaves differently than any we have catalogued." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Different how?" "It makes choices, deliberate choices. Its interactions are unpredictable. Yet it is intelligent. Connected somehow to the creatures it feeds. Nothing matches our data on primitive life forms." The commander leaned closer, eyes glimmering. "Observe closely. Record every detail. Do not intervene. This human, its behavior may reveal something about its species we cannot yet understand." Back on Earth, Eli moved to another part of the alley, scattering more food. The cats ate quickly, but the orange cat followed him silently, disappearing briefly into the shadows and returning as if on a mission. Eli chuckled softly. "You are careful, huh?" he said. "Almost like you know more than I do." He did not know how true that was. Every movement, every glance, every small decision was being logged, analyzed, and transmitted across light years. The alien fleet compared his behavior to billions of other species. The data was pouring in and discussions were fast and tense. "He is unpredictable," one analyst whispered to the commander. "And yet intelligent. Adaptable. Even a single individual shows potential beyond expectations." The commander's eyes glowed faintly. "Prepare detailed logs. Observe continuously. Any interference may ruin the experiment. This human, its unpredictability is remarkable. The species as a whole may hold secrets we cannot yet imagine." Eli continued walking home. The streets were quiet now. Distant traffic hummed softly, dogs barked in the far distance, and the occasional siren cut through the night air. He passed closed shops, small parks, and empty alleyways, unaware that he was under the watchful eyes of a civilization far more advanced than anything he could imagine. The orange cat trailed him a few steps, then vanished into the darkness. Eli did not notice. It was just another stray to him. Nothing more. Inside the alien fleet, discussion continued. Commander, the human is a single specimen, an analyst said. Yet its behavior, interaction with other living creatures, the environment, even its choices, may indicate intelligence beyond its size and strength. Observe only, the commander hissed. No contact. Not yet. Its unpredictability is the key. The moment it knows we are watching, it may change. Humans are delicate in perception, yet surprisingly resourceful. Eli finally reached his apartment. He paused at the door, feeling a faint chill run down his spine. For a moment, he glanced over his shoulder. The street was empty, silent. Nothing was there. He shook it off. Humans were prone to imagining shadows in the night. Inside, he sat by the window, looking out over the city lights reflecting on wet streets. The air smelled faintly of rain and dust. He felt calm, tired, unaware that he had just become the focus of an alien fleet. Far above Earth, the alien ships continued their silent surveillance. Screens, charts, and holographic images recorded every detail of his life. Alien voices overlapped in rapid, tense patterns. One phrase echoed repeatedly among the commanders: human anomaly. The camera pans slowly from Eli's small window to the massive alien fleet hovering silently in the void. Their metal surfaces shimmer under distant starlight. Alien leaders debated among themselves, unsure what a single human could mean to an entire galaxy. Eli finally turned off the lamp and lay down, closing his eyes. The city remained quiet. But across the stars, ripples of curiosity and concern spread. A simple act, feeding stray cats, had triggered a chain of events that could stretch across light years. The galaxy was watching. And humans were about to become far more than the aliens expected. The city was drenched in quiet, almost as if it held its breath. Rain had stopped only moments ago, leaving streets slick and reflective under the dim neon lights. Puddles mirrored the flickering glow of shop signs, traffic lights, and distant windows, creating 1,000 tiny reflections that danced in the night. The air smelled of wet concrete and dust, with a faint metallic tang lingering where water pooled. Eli walked slowly down a narrow alley, a small paper bag in his hands. Inside was dry cat food, a humble offering for the stray cats that roamed the streets nightly. It was his routine, his small act of kindness in a world that often seemed indifferent. The ritual gave him calm, purpose, and connection to life beyond the hum of the city. His eyes moved cautiously, scanning shadows for movement. The alley was littered with trash, broken bottles, and stray papers rustling under the wind. Rats scuttled silently past, disappearing into cracks and drains. Yet Eli knew the cats were there, hidden, waiting, and watching him. He approached a corner and knelt down near a puddle. From the darkness, shapes began to emerge. A few scruffy cats crept forward, their tails low, eyes wide and alert. Among them, a small orange cat, smaller than the others with rough, patchy fur, hesitated. Unlike the other cats, it did not rush toward the food. It paused, head tilting slightly, watching Eli as if weighing his intentions. "Here you go, little guy," Eli whispered softly, scattering a small pile of food. The cat stepped forward cautiously, nibbling at the food. Eli smiled, thinking nothing of it. He did not notice the tiny silver chip hidden in its collar, a device no larger than a fingernail. It pulsed faintly, sending signals far beyond Earth, reaching a hidden alien fleet station near a dying star. Inside the largest ship of the fleet, a massive vessel shaped like a dark shard of crystal, a commander with scales shimmering in silver and green leaned over a holographic display. Its multiple eyes glimmered independently, scanning intricate data streams. "Report," the commander hissed, its voice low, metallic, and full of authority. A subordinate clicked claws nervously on a console. "Commander, there is a signal. From a primitive planet. A single human, alive, unarmed, feeding small creatures. The readings are unusual. The behavior is distinct. It does not match the standard patterns of primitive species." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Distinct how?" "It makes deliberate choices. Observes its environment. Shows empathy toward other living creatures. It is unpredictable," the subordinate said, hesitating. The commander hissed again, a sound like metal scraping stone. "Track every detail. Do not intervene. The human must remain unaware. Observation only. Its behavior may reveal truths about its species we cannot yet understand." Back on Earth, Eli moved along another part of the alley, scattering more food. The cats ate quickly, but the orange one followed silently, disappearing briefly into the shadows before returning, as though on a secret mission. Eli chuckled softly. "You are always careful, huh?" he said. "Almost like you know something I don't." He had no idea how right he was. Every small movement, every glance, every decision, was being recorded by alien sensors. The fleet tracked his habits, analyzed his choices, compared them with data from billions of other species. Across light years, discussions buzzed in voices humans could not perceive. "He is unpredictable," one analyst whispered to the commander, "yet intelligent, adaptable. The connection with the animals, and his environment, suggests latent intelligence beyond what we expected." The commander's eyes glimmered faintly. "Prepare full logs. Observe continuously. Any interference may alter the data. Its unpredictability is the key. The species may hold secrets we cannot yet imagine." Eli continued his walk home. The city was quiet, alive only in subtle ways: the distant hum of vehicles, the occasional bark of a dog, the faint squeal of tires on wet pavement. He passed closed shops, silent parks, and empty alleyways, unaware that he had become the focal point of a galactic observation. The orange cat trailed him a few more steps before disappearing into darkness. Eli did not notice. To him it was just another stray. Nothing more. Inside the alien fleet, analysts debated rapidly. "Commander, the human is a single specimen. Yet its choices, interactions with animals, reactions to environment, and simple decisions, may indicate intelligence far beyond its physical form." "Observe only," the commander hissed. "No contact. Not yet. Any knowledge of our attention may alter behavior. Humans are fragile in perception, yet unexpectedly clever and adaptable. This one anomaly may reveal something about the entire species." Eli reached his apartment building. He paused at the door, feeling a faint chill creep down his spine. He glanced over his shoulder as though expecting someone there, but the street remained empty. He shook his head, dismissing the feeling. Humans often imagine shadows in the night. Inside his small apartment, Eli sat by the window looking out over the city. Neon lights reflected in wet streets and puddles, giving the illusion of stars scattered across the ground. A soft breeze carried the scent of rain, dust, and something faintly metallic. He felt tired but content, unaware that his life had become a point of interest far beyond his comprehension. Above him, in the cold expanse of space, alien ships continued their silent observation. Screens, charts, and holograms captured every detail: the tilt of his head, the way he scattered the food, even the way he interacted with the cats. Alien voices overlapped in rapid, tense patterns, repeating one phrase over and over: "Human anomaly." The camera would pan slowly from Eli's small window to the massive fleet hovering silently in space, metal hulls glimmering in starlight. Alien leaders whispered among themselves, debating what one ordinary human could mean for an entire galaxy. Their discussion was filled with tension, curiosity, and caution. Eli finally turned off the lamp and lay down, closing his eyes. The city remained calm and silent, but across the stars, a ripple of curiosity and concern spread. A simple act, feeding stray cats, had begun a chain of events that could stretch across light years. One small human, unaware of the attention he had drawn, had already become a central point in a galaxy that now watched, waited, and wondered. The galaxy was watching. And humans were about to become far greater than anyone, alien or otherwise, expected.